Morning. What's going on? Welcome back. Woo. Yeah, woo's been pretty weak lately. Morning. Welcome back, guys. How's everyone doing? From Abu Dhabi. Good morning from Abu Dhabi. Some important Dow names reporting this morning, and a little bit of weakness there. McDonald's, Caterpillar, both weak on earnings. Miami's treating me very nicely. Very much enjoying it. New York wedding was good, cold, but fun as always. It's always good to spend some time with the family. What happened to TSM? NXPI earnings. You had your NXPI earnings yesterday. That's a semiconductor, which it moved lower, causing downside on all the semiconductors this morning. That was something that sort of let everyone know about yesterday in the Discord. That NXPI earnings could move the semiconductors, and it definitely did. All right, so we'll get started here. Welcome back. If you guys want to press that like button, that would be much appreciated. Let's get started. So yesterday, very nice. A little bit choppy intraday, a little bit of a mess, sort of, a little bit, but some nice levels, right? That 40-60 level had a lot of significance, and that 12,015 level, the 200 SMA on the NASDAQ, had a lot of significance. After we broke under those levels, we saw the downside come in. So 40-60 once that or 30-60 once that broke. I'm sorry. I'm getting all messed up. Yeah, 40-60, my bad. 40-60, once that level broke on the ES, it was sort of a downside move from there. Rejected it. After breaking it, rejected it multiple times, turned it into a rejection point, and at that point, market stayed weak, slightly lower into close. We also saw the dollar push to the upside yesterday. Strong move to the upside on the dollar, right back into a big supply level on the dollar. So that's something we're definitely going to have to watch today, how the dollar reacts. And yeah, so ES 40-60, we got that NASDAQ under that 12,015, and now we're looking at a few new levels on the ES and on the NASDAQ at 40-30 on the ES, and then on the NASDAQ, it's right around that 11,950 area is what I'm sort of targeting. I guess you could look at 950, but I'm more interested in yesterday's close right around that 980. So we'll talk a little bit about some of those levels today, some things to watch. I'm a little bit cautious of shorting today because you moved into that 4,000 area. You moved into that 11,850, 11,860 on the NASDAQ. So we got to be a little bit cautious today. You have a big or not big, but a decent downside move in the pre-market. And sometimes when you have those decent downside moves in pre-market, there could be some type of a desire to gap fill or some type of early morning bull trap. And, if you're shorting into a bull trap, are you going to withstand the upside? Are you going to be able to hold that drawdown or not, right? So we want to be early to that. So a little bit cautious on the downside today. No, I'm not going to add Carvana to the review today. I'm not looking at those stocks. Sorry, man. So some levels to watch, very easily, definable levels that we can watch today, which will sort of guide our move. And yesterday it pretty much worked out perfectly as we discussed here on the live stream. So we'll review what happened yesterday, how it sort of played out. We'll go over some levels today. We'll talk about the earnings. We'll talk about tomorrow's FOMC. And hopefully prepare the best we can for today's trading day. Last day of January, we want to always end the month on a strong note. be careful today, right? The best thing you could do is end the month on a strong note. If that means taking one trade and just walking away, it's good for the psychology. It's good for your mentality. That's definitely the goal today. Just end the month, green note, move on to next month, and start all over again. All right? P-Hub. P-Hub is prime, baby. All right. So let's get started here. So first of all, let's pull up the economic calendar. Right here. Hold on, guys. I got to kick someone out of here already. There we go. Adios, amigo. All right. So today, we have some news today in the morning, 8:30. In about 24 minutes, we got the employment cost index. We'll see what happens there. I'm not too sure that you're going to see much movement off that, but we'll keep an eye on it here in the pre-market stream. We'll see if there's any reaction to that. So let's watch out for that one. 9 a.m., you got some stuff, home index stuff going on here at 9 a.m. A little bit of 10 o'clock consumer confidence, rental vacancy rate. So nothing crazy. I don't expect this to be the market moving event today. Tomorrow is very, very much the event. So you even starting early, right? You're starting with ADP employment, manufacturing PMI, job openings, job quits, construction spending. So you're pretty loaded here in the beginning, the first half of the day. And then you have Fed funds rate and Jerome Powell speaking. So tomorrow, monster day for the market, monster day for economic news. Obviously, you guys know the spiel. Careful swing trading. Keep it light, right? Don't risk money. Don't over risk yourself. Don't over leverage yourself into these type of events. Let it happen. Don't try to guess. Let it happen and play the continuation. If you have no risk on the table, then you have nothing to worry about tomorrow, right? So February 2nd, Thursday, that is jobless claims, factory orders, productivity, and then Friday, our normal non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings, etc. So nice stuff. That's your economic news. Big stuff tomorrow, right? That's the big one. That is the big event. Let's pull up the earnings calendar here so we can take a look at what reported this morning. And then we will get started into the futures. All right. So this morning, that's fine. We'll do it this way. Yesterday, NXPI semiconductors had downside on that move, causing all the other semiconductors to move lower. Right? If you guys, I'm sure you're aware of this, but if you're new to trading, you have to when you're watching the earnings calendar, you have to think about what is a sympathy move. Right? You always need to remember sympathy moves. So sympathy moves will be, a stock like NXPI, which is semiconductor related, causing an effect on other semiconductor stocks. So you have to remember this as you trade during this time. I'm sure you guys are very aware of that, but if you are new, just make sure to understand that. ExxonMobil this morning, UPS, Caterpillar, Pfizer, McDonald's, some pretty big Dow names and a little bit of downside on those. So we'll review some of those. AMD after hours, Snapchat after hours. And you guys, again, sympathy move. AMD, it will move NVIDIA. It will move Qualcomm. It will move TSM. It will move NXPI. Right? These will move because of AMD earnings. So if you're trading that, you have to make sure you're understanding of that. Snapchat, for some whatever reason, I don't understand why, moves the market a lot, which I don't get why. Every time Snapchat reports earnings, the NASDAQ moves significantly, which it does not make any sense to me, but it does. So watch out for Snapchat today. We'll see how that affects the market. Tomorrow, Waste Management, Peloton, T-Mobile, Altria, that's healthcare. Meta, that's a big one tomorrow as well after close. And then the big stuff, again, Amazon, Apple, Alphabet, Thursday after close, guys. This is huge. Even Qualcomm's in there as well. Qualcomm, Alphabet, Apple, and Amazon, huge earnings there on Thursday. All right? And nothing much on Friday. All right, so that's that. We're going to go over the futures, as always. Tesla 160. I like this level today on Tesla. Keeping an eye on this. Amazon Meta, daily supply. Keeping an eye on those daily supplies that we talked about yesterday still. Netflix has entered that low volume area we talked about. This was a very nice short on Netflix. A little bit choppy intraday. I did take a small loss on trying to take this play, but I will look at it again today on Netflix. Apple 143 retest, keeping an eye on that. NVIDIA 187.50. CAT, we'll take a look at CAT post earnings, and then the dollar. Definitely want to be watching out for the dollar today. The dollar has pushed up into a major supply. And if there is any type of rejection there on the dollar, we've seen where it sort of holds up equities. So we want to be careful of that dollar pulling back to the downside. If the dollar rejects that supply level, you might see equities hold up a little bit. That's something I'm going to be watching today on the dollar. All right, let's get started. So let's start with the ES, and let's take a look at what happened yesterday. So yesterday, we were talking about 40.60, right? We were saying, okay, if we get under 40.60, let's look for the downside move. Let's not anticipate it. But if we can turn 40.60 into a rejection, then let's look for that downside move. So we were under 40.60 to start. We came back into it at open. We had a little bit of a push to the upside. Now, I went over this in my nightly stream. So if you guys are part of that nightly stream, I'm gonna sort of reiterate what I talked about there, and I'm gonna talk about why you don't get trapped. I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible because we do have a limited amount of time here. But I'm gonna talk to you about why I personally did not get stuck in this trap, and why it was, in my opinion, easy to understand or easily avoidable. Right? This move to the upside, in my opinion, was easily avoidable. Now, here's why. You come into the day, right, with a plan that you're not going to go long until you're over 4,100 supply on the ES. So if you have that plan, right, if you know that you're coming into the day and you're coming into the day where you've recently rejected a multi-month triple top, right, rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. Right? So you know that coming into the day. You have to have that plan coming into the day. You know, hey, we have a huge supply up at 4,100. I cannot be long until we're over that level. I do not want to be the sucker that goes long before 4,100 and then sees this thing reject because I got anxious. I wanted to try to play upside. You have to come into that day with some type of plan. The plan yesterday, if you were on the live stream, is do not go long unless you're over 4,100. So that's step one. Right? That was step one of knowing not to go long there on that breakout of 40.60. Why would I go long back into a 4,100 triple top multi-month supply level? It makes absolutely no sense. It is totally backwards, right? To be going long into the 4,100 level. It makes no sense. So that was step one, right? If you came into yesterday with a plan and you knew, hey, okay, yes, we are pushing higher early morning, but do I really want to go long as we approach, this high here at 40.78, 40.80? Do I really want to go long into 40.90, into 4,100? Does that make any logical sense? In my opinion, if you came in with that idea, you would have not gotten trapped in that upside, right? If you didn't come into the day with any idea of what the levels were, then you probably would have chased this, and maybe you got rejected on, maybe you got rug pulled, all right? So that was step one. Now, step two of knowing that this was a weak move or a move that you should not trade is if you look at equities during that time, yesterday morning, all right, if we go to the 1-minute chart and we look at what the ES did yesterday, you can see, yes, it did push higher. There was some type of push, right, early morning. So remember what this looks like here, this area here, right, the first 30 minutes of the market. Keep an eye on what this looks like. Remember what this looks like right here on the ES. Let me go through some of the largest equities on the market, and let me show you what they were doing at that time. So Apple, number one. If we go to what Apple was doing early morning, look, just a chop fest, was showing no strength, right? Apple was stuck. It was not doing anything, all right? So that was showing that there was not much strength on equities. Equities were not leading. If you go to Amazon, right? Amazon, downside actually, right? You had downside on Amazon while the market was moving higher. Doesn't give you confidence. NVIDIA during that time. Look at NVIDIA during that time as the market moved higher. No strength. No equities not leading the market. No strength on the market or on leading equities there. If we go to Tesla, Tesla was down during that time. Tesla was moving lower and sort of chopping around as the ES was pushing higher. You can go through many examples, right? Meta, another one that was weak to sideways during that time. So if you look around as you were watching the market, if you were reading the market at that time, you said, okay, yeah, we're going up, but I don't see any strength on these equities. All right, I'm not really trusting this move. And I also am not going to go long under 4,100. So these are the types of things that, I mean, not to do self-promotion, but these are the types of things that we talk about in the Discord, that we stay away from in the Discord, that we can avoid as a group. We can talk and discuss, say, hey, this does not look very strong. I don't see equities leading here. I'm not going to go long under 4,100. And that's how you avoid that type of move. So really nice little avoidance of that bull trap yesterday. Once we got under 40.60, you guys can see after we got under 40.60, we just could not get back above it. And at that point, you can see right here, we rejected. We continued to make lower highs all throughout the day. And eventually it sort of gave up and moved to our 40.30 price target. All right. So right to our 40.30, you can see right to our 40.30 price target, which we discussed yesterday in the live stream. Now, moving into today, right, you can see how important that 40.30 is going to be. You have the 40.30 here. Right? You have the 40.30 all right here in the after hours from yesterday. So today we're watching 40.30, right? Can we play a little rejection of 40.30? That is definitely something that I am going to be watching today. Can we short this market off of 40.30 today, off of yesterday's lows? That is definitely a big watch for me here. I'm actually going to put this sort of here because I think you can even try to play rejections maybe up in that 40.32. You could even try to play rejections here around that 40.41. All right. Let's make a plan for today. Right? Is there any logical reason? That you would try to play upside before a break of at least the pre-market highs and this major rejection from the after hours? There is no logical reason that you would try to chase an upside move before you're even close or even above or holding above this 40.40 from yesterday in the pre-market, right here. There's absolutely no reason. So if you do see a little push this morning, right, if you see a little squeeze this morning, do not get chased into that. Do not get sucked into this move. Don't be the liquidity that the market makers need, because there's no reason to be going long into a pre-market high, into some of this after hours rejection points. It does not make any logical sense. So please be careful of that. Do not go long under 40.40. Even if you do get a break of 40.30, this is 10 points of indecision that I would not get involved in, right? So be careful of that. Again, I think the only way you can even consider going long today is a break of 40.60, which is a lot to ask for, right? I wouldn't go long anywhere in this zone. The only place I'd go long is if we sell something like this. And maybe I would try to catch a few points off 40.60. But even at that point, you're still under that 4,100, which is really not that enticing to be going long under 4,100 still. So what I would like to see happen is the 40.30 rejection. I think that makes the most sense, right? On a technical standpoint, a little break and retest of yesterday's lows would make a lot of sense, right? If we could get something like this, previous lows from yesterday, a little bit of previous support from the intraday or after hours. If we can push back into it, if we can start to show rejections here, that would be I think the easiest move for us to trade, right? That would be the easiest move for us to trade there on the NASDAQ or on the ES, on the market in general. If we do get an upside push, right, I think there might be some opportunity in here, but it's going to be pretty hard to judge. I would say anywhere between this 40.30 and 40.60 is... All right. See you later, my friend. I mean, why come here and do that? So stupid, man. Some really stupid people out there. So previous lows 40.30, previous lows 40.30, previous lows 40.30. I would watch this 40.30 today. That would make the most sense to me if we can play this rejection off 40.30. We'll see if that comes in. That's what I would watch. The upside picture, and I'm trying not to be biased here, but the upside picture is just really not very it's really not very, it's not very clear, right? It's tough. It's tough to be interested in longs here, into this 40-40. It's tough to be interested in longs into yesterday's consolidation. It's tough to really get that. It's tough to really get that long strength. I would say if you really want to search for an upside move, I would think the only upside move that would be somewhat clean here is if you could try to play a break and hold above 40-40, and then maybe you could try to get a move into 40-60. That would be like the one upside move that you could maybe see today. So a push above 40-30, a break above this little pre-market high, hold of the pre-market high, and then maybe you get that little squeeze to 40-60, and then you start to reject up here. Possible, right? Very possible. Something to be aware of, something to be, make sure to have that possibility in mind so that you don't get too biased today, right? So 40-40, 40-60, and then 40-30 would be the levels I'd watch. And to the downside, I would be cautious of holding shorts into 4,000, right? If you get a nice short, I would just be cautious of holding it into 4,000. That could be a level that holds up before FOMC. So I would watch 40-30, 40-40, 40-60, and 4,000 today. Those would be my key levels that I would be watching on the ES. We'll go to the SPY real quick. I know you guys like to go to the SPY. We'll do it real quick. I would say, this 398.50 is some previous highs here, which could definitely, you can start to see it's holding as some support. So I would say, before getting short on the SPY today, you might want to be cautious of that 398.50, right? That might be the area you want to be cautious of. You can see right here, previous high, previous high, previous high, previous high, previous support. You probably want to be a little cautious shorting into that 398.50. If I go down to the 15-minute, I would say watch yesterday's lows or yesterday's close, which is, I would say, right around this pre-market high area. This is yesterday's close right here. That's where we're rejecting right now, 460. And then this pre-market high right around this 4150. All right. So you have this yesterday's close around this 460, and then this pre-market high around 40150. Those would be the levels I'd watch. And then just again, be cautious shorting into that 398.50. That's the same thing about being cautious of shorting into that 4,000 area on the ES. In my opinion, this is why I watch the ES more than the SPY, guys, because this does not look as clean to me as does the ES. The ES makes, in my opinion, makes for a much better technical chart to be watching. No gaps, just very clean price action. I'm liking, this is why I watch the ES in the first place. So 40-30, 40-40, 40-60, and 4,000. And as of right now, it looks like you are starting to see, all right, look what you're starting to see here, potentially. You're potentially starting to see that rejection set in at 40-30 right now. NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ, yesterday, our key level was that 12,015. It was right here. That was that previous Thursday, Friday low. And it was that 200 SMA, right? So you can see right here that Thursday, Friday low, pre-market low, after hours low, that we moved higher off of. And yesterday, after we broke below it, we had that downside continuation, right? After we broke below this Thursday, Friday low, we had the continuation. That was a very nice move, right? So if I go to the 15-minute, we can get a little bit closer up here and take a look at what happened there. So if I zoom in, you can see previous lows here at 12,015, 200 SMA right there at 12,015. After we broke below that, we rejected it. It was pretty much just a slip from that point. So very nice. Now, let's put our logical mind caps on, all right? Let's make a plan. Are we going to go long into the 200 SMA on the NASDAQ? No. There is no reason. There is absolutely no reason to be looking for longs into the 200 SMA on the NASDAQ. Whether that's what happens today or it does not, you should not be upset about missing an upside move into the 200 SMA. It makes absolutely no sense. If you miss it, who gives a shit, right? It's not the end of the world. If I miss an upside move today into the 200 SMA, I could care less. It makes no sense, right? It does not make risk reward sense to be trading upside into a 200 SMA. So that's how I would take today, right? I would not even consider longs here on tech, even if we go up this morning, and even if everyone's out there posting profits on calls in the morning because we rallied in the morning, and I caught this SPY call from the early morning, and I caught Tesla on a huge bounce at 9:31, right? It does not matter, right? That is not a good trade. It is not a good trade to trade upside into the 200 SMA. It makes no sense. Even if it's something that, okay, here we go again. We'll see how many accounts this idiot has, and then we'll just continue to remove him until he has no more accounts left. There we go. So for me, no sense. Does not make sense to go long into the 200 SMA. That's my game plan heading into today. All right. I'm not really interested in that. If I go to the hourly chart on the NASDAQ, I would say that the short entry would be if you do get that push into the 200 SMA, right? If we can get that push into the 200 SMA, that's where I would actually start to look to play short, right? That would be the area that I would look to start getting short. I would leave the upside alone, and I would look to get short at that 200 SMA area. So I would look for the retest of this push, right? I would look for the retest of this previous low. I would look for the rejection of the 200 SMA to set in, and I would look to play that move, right? That's what I would look for on the NASDAQ today. That's a little bit more interesting to me than trading into that 200 SMA, all right? So watch that. And then to the downside, if we go to the hourly chart, Yinny is, yeah, I'm Yash. I like to be Yash sometimes. I got you on that, Jack. So you guys can see right here, previous support, previous support, previous support. And then you can see a little bit of support stepping in there around 11,860, 11,835 area. So I would be also just a little bit cautious of this short, right? I would be a little cautious of that short. I would not feel, warm and cozy being short into this zone right here that I have mapped out. It might be a little bit difficult to get that move through that area because you have this, you have this, you have this, and you also have this previous rejection here. So there is definitely some type of interest in this. There is some type of interest in this area on the NASDAQ. So I would be a little bit cautious of shorts into this level, right? I don't think I'd want to be buying new shorts at this level. If we can break below this, then maybe you can grab this move down towards that 11.7. But I would be a little bit cautious here at around 11.860, 11.830 on the short side. I would rather be a short at the 200 SMA. All right, I would rather be a short at the 200 SMA today than be a short at this low here around 11.860. All right. So hopefully that helps you guys on the NASDAQ. Make sure to watch that 200 SMA today. I think it's very key. All right, Dow Jones. So Dow Jones broke below that previous triple top. So are you, right? I did this I did this in the live stream last night. I'll do it here again. See if you guys like it. We'll keep this on the charts today. Do not go long into a triple top, right? Do not go long into a multi-month triple top. Right here, right here, right here, triple top at 33,880. Do not go long into a multi-month triple top. There is no sense behind that, okay? That is something that I would not be interested in today. If it does it, let it go. right? Just let it go. Let it go up and look to see if it starts to reject up here. You don't need to sweat about when this might reject. You don't need to try to catch, this short-term upside into that triple top. Unless, of course, the data breaks it. So let's see. Let's see what happens on the data. Of course, data can change things up on us, as it always can, right? So let's take a look at this. Unless, of course, the data switches things around on us here today. All right, so what was the data that just came out? Let's see. Let's pull it up. A little bit of data. Employment cost index plus what's basically flat. Cost index 1% versus 1.1. Someone donated to me earlier, and I forgot to say thank you. Jay Price, do dogs understand elevators, or do they think, okay, let's get in this world changer? I don't know, Jay Price. It's a good question, but thank you for the donation. Felt like giving today, and who else to give in our day? Thank you, AK. Appreciate that, my friend. Appreciate that. All right, so employment cost index, basically flat versus expectations. A little bit of a push here, and you're rejecting right at that 40-40 right now. So that's your level there, 40-40. What about NASDAQ? NASDAQ is still below the 200, right? So this could even set up for, another, maybe a sweeter rejection at 200. You can see we're still below that 200. I would not be interested in any longs here until you're over that 200, right? So a little bit of upside. I don't really think that type of upside is going to maintain today from that news. It's basically flat. Employment cost index, 1% versus 1.1. But we'll see. I would say only time you'd be interested in a potential long today is over the 200 SMA. That would be maybe something you can look for, over that 200 on the NASDAQ. ES looks like 40-40, right? 40-40 for now. So 40-40 still, 40-40, 40-60, 40-30, right? Same levels. NASDAQ, I would say 200 SMA, all right? That's what I would be watching here. We'll see if that changes here in the next few minutes. We'll see what happens in the next few minutes to see if there's any continuation. Robert Ramirez, thank you, my friend. Dow Jones, still below the triple top, right? Still below the triple top. Would not be interested in longs unless you get over that, all right? Russell is still below this triple top as well, I believe. This is like a quadruple top. This is like I don't even know what the word would be for this top. You can see right here, you have 1905, right? Rejection. I would watch out for that top there on the Russell, 1905. All right, so once again, if we look at this 15-minute, we'll look at this one more time before we start to get to some individual stocks. 40-40, that would be my first level to watch. If you can break over 40-40, maybe there's something into 40-60 today. That would be probably my one and only long idea on the market today, would be maybe a break and hold over 40-40 for some type of a short-term push to the upside. And then if you reject 40-40, look to see if you can lose 40-30 again. I would not short. So at this point, after seeing this data come out, right, I would probably not want to be short before a 40-30 break, right? I probably would not want to be short under before a 40-30 break, because if you short back into 40-30, you might see some support step in, right? So at this point, now that we're trading in this little zone, I would say don't short into 40-30, right? I would look for this for my shorts right here. I would look for that type of move under 40-30, and I would not go long until over 40-40 if there is anything maybe up to that 40-60, all right? That's what I would watch on the ES. I think that's a pretty good game plan there. Don't go short until under 40-30. Don't go long until over 40-40. I think that's a good game plan there for the day. And then on the NASDAQ, I would just say don't go long until over the 200. and I would not go short until under this 860, 835 area. All right. Again, remember, FOMC is tomorrow, so there is a potential interest in chopping this market sideways, right? We've seen that plenty of times. If the market just chops sideways and does not want to have a big move today because FOMC is tomorrow, then we need to be very aware of that. We need to be cautious of that. All right, let's continue. Tesla. So I am still in my Tesla puts, and those Tesla puts have held up pretty damn well, which is pretty interesting. I bought my Tesla puts here at 160, and even on this rally on Friday, I was only down 20%, which was pretty crazy to see. I don't really know. I mean, I guess it's just a high IV, maybe just a lot of interest in trying to get, protective puts or people getting into puts on this push. But for some reason, even on this push, and I swear, I was only down 20%, which is pretty crazy. So I'm still not green on it. I'm still red on the position, but I am hoping to see, that continuation today, and maybe I'll try to take a little bit of profit on those puts. I'll probably just end up break even because at this point I'm coming back to my my original entry point, and I really don't know if I'm going to get a real profit on it. But it was crazy to see the resilience of that put option that I had, even on this upside push. So Tesla, right here, you guys can see that 160 level, right here, this 160 level. This is something that I'm looking to play. However, when you look at Tesla today, for me, it's right in the middle of my zone. So I really don't like this area on Tesla to be long or short, right? I really don't like this area to be long or short on Tesla. I would probably want to see a break of this 164, 163.50 for a move back into that 160 area. Or personally, what I would like more than anything is a push back into 168, and then maybe you can play that rejection off 168, right? So, yeah, this is an interesting spot on Tesla. I'm just going to hold my put option. It's worth like $150. I'm just going to get an idea, get a little. Thank you, Mr. Pants. We got another one. He's making new accounts every day. So you guys can see right in between this little zone, it's a tough day on Tesla, in my opinion. This is a tough area. I would either look for this, right? Or I would look for maybe a little demand hold of 160, right? Those would be my two ideas today on Tesla. But right here in the middle, I'd probably leave it alone. I'd probably leave it alone in the middle. I would either look for a retest of these previous highs for potential long, or I would look for a rejection of this previous high around 168. All right. Amazon. It was so the reason I didn't stop out Cisco is because I have like 150 shares of Tesla across my portfolios, and I originally entered it with the idea of just having a little hedge against my long-term shares, just in case there was some kind of really aggressive drop that I could maybe cash in on maybe some short-term puts. So I bought that with the idea of just sort of putting it against my long-term shares. All right, Amazon. Looks like we're moving. Are we moving higher on the market right now? Not really. All right, we're towards that 40-40. So Amazon is holding up pretty well here. I would, if the market has strength today, right, this technically would be a break and retest for upside. So keep an eye on that. If we do have strength today on the market, this is a nice little demand hold. For me on Amazon, right, when you look at this chart, you have to understand, hey, I don't think I want to go short on Amazon until a break of at least 99, right? Why would you want to? I probably would not want to go short into this level. It is proven to me that it's double bottomed. It is proven to me that it held yesterday. It's proven to me that it's held in the pre-market. It was a previous top here around this 99, 99.50. So I really don't have interest in shorting Amazon at this point until we are maybe losing 99 and then turn that into a new rejection point. So that would be my game plan on Amazon today. I would watch this 99, 99.50 area. You do still have that major supply on the daily chart that you could play off of, right? It's still there and very much still a viable play to the downside on this major supply on the daily. But I don't think you can short this yet until you get under 99, right? Because you don't want to be shorting into this demand here. So watch out for that. I have covered calls too, yeah. And then Meta. So Meta, the same idea. This is that daily supply that I was talking about. You guys can see right here. Previous daily lows into a 200 SMA rejection and a supply rejection. Earnings are coming up. I would look to see if Meta loses 146 today. That would be the only place I would look to go short if we can get a move under 146. If you hold up today on the market, right, if this little push that we're seeing holds up a little bit, you might be able to go long off this 146, right? That is possible. It is possible to potentially long off this 146 level. It was a previous low here. It's trying to hold it once again here. Of course, you're going to need to see upside on the actual market for that to be something you can trust. But at this point, I'm a little bit more interested in seeing if you break this 146. That would be a nice move. Low volume area. Could be very juicy under 146. Something I will be watching today. All right. So 146 Meta and 99 Amazon are the two levels I would keep an eye out for on those daily supplies. Netflix. So Netflix did fall through that low volume area, but look at it. It's quickly getting bought up once again. So what am I going to look for today? I'm going to look to see if this rejects here. If this previous low at 354.50 rejects today, intraday, this might be a nice little break and retest. This is a low volume area until around 344 right there. 344 previous highs. I will be interested in this. Does Netflix turn this 354.50 into a rejection point? All right, that's something I will be watching. Previous lows from yesterday. If you go to the 5-minute, you can see the previous lows from yesterday, 354.50. I'll keep an eye to see if that starts to turn into a rejection point today. That could be a nice setup. But of course, we have to, again, right? We have to base our plays on what the overall market's doing. For now, it looks like that ES is still rejecting 40.40, right? And for now, it looks like that NQ is still under that 200 SMA. But yeah, that was a nice 40.40 rejection for now. So that looks like it's the key level now, right? That looks like it's our key level now. Very clear. So you can see right here. That looks like it's our key level for now. So that's good, though, because that sets up a little bit more clarity for us. Because now we know if we do break 40.40, then maybe there is a little squeeze towards that 40.60, right? Or if we do reject 40.40, right, that could be a nice play. That could be a nice area to play that rejection. So nice 40.40 level there. We'll see what happens intraday. So that's Netflix, 354.50. Watching that, yesterday's lows, seeing what happens there at yesterday's lows. Apple. Okay, Apple, I think, is probably one of the cleaner setups today. I think this is one of the ones that makes the most sense to me, has one of the cleanest technicals of the day, and a level that I sort of believe in quite a bit. So, 143 support, 143 support, 143 support, right? Very, very clear level at 143 on Apple. So today, we are watching to see what happens at 143, what happens at yesterday's lows, what happens as we push into this 143 level. Do we turn it back into a support? Does 143 bounce and does it turn back into a support? And do we curl off of it today? If so, I like that long entry. Of course, if that aligns with the overall market. Or do we get a break and retest for more downside? Right? Do we have a break? Do we have a retest? And do we trade back down into that 139, 140? That is what I will be watching today. I think this is a really nice 143 level. I think you can if you just sort of focus on Apple today, focus really on what's going to happen. Focus on what's going to happen at that 143. Then I would try to play it off that level, 143. What happens at that 143 level? All right. So that's a nice little Apple level. I think I definitely want to look to play that. If you can hold above it, Maybe you can look to long it off 143, right? That depends on overall market, of course. All right, NVIDIA, 187.50. Right here, 187.50. Very key level on NVIDIA today. So here's my game plan on NVIDIA today. I don't want to be long until a break over 193. Right? I don't want to be long until a break over 193. If we can get a break over 193, then I would consider a long maybe up into that 197. And I don't want to be short until a break below 187.50. Right? If we can get a break under 187.50, then I would look for that downside continuation within this very low volume area back into that 178. So you can see if we go to the 15-minute, zoom in here, if this TOS would allow me. Did that ever happen to you guys where it won't zoom in? So here's NVIDIA, right? Some very clear levels to be watching today. You have the previous lows around this 187.50. If I go over more, you'll see it right here. 187.50, very clear previous lows that came in once again this pre-market. I would not want to be short until I get that break and retest below it, right? That would be where I'd like the short entry right here. And I would also be cautious of going long before, right, the break above this 193. That is a previous low here. That is a previous low here. So I don't want to be long into that 193, right? That would be a little bit of a sweaty trade because you don't know quite how far it can go. I would rather be short at 143 or 193 because that's a nice risk reward there, right? If we see something like this, you might get a nice risk reward to the downside off some previous lows into a rejection, right? That could be very nice. Or we look for this, right? I would look for this. I would look for this. I would look for this. Would I look for this? I don't know if I would look for that. I don't know if I would look for the demand hold. Because if we are down here at the demand level, that means that the ES and the NASDAQ are moving lower as well, right? If you find NVIDIA back at these demand lows, that means that the ES and NASDAQ are likely lower as well. So I don't know if I would want to play that demand hold today, all right? So I would look for either this push and hold above 193. I would look for the rejection of 193, or I'd look for the break and retest of the lows. That's probably the three things that I would watch. All right. That's what I would be watching on NVIDIA today. I think some very clear levels, some very nice stuff to watch there. CAT. Take a look at CAT real quick. So CAT dropped on earnings, but is quickly coming right back up. I would look to see what CAT does at this 258 today. I would look to see what CAT does at this 258 today. Right here. 258, 258, 258.50. Does it hold above it? Maybe. I'm probably not going to trade CAT. I really don't like trading. I really don't like trading post earnings especially on a stock like CAT. I would look, if you're going to trade CAT, I would say look for either a rejection of this 258.60 right here, or a hold above 258.60. That's how I'd play it, right? Either a push above 258.60 or a break below or a retest rejection of 258.60. That's what I would watch on CAT. How do you suggest trading in high IV? I would say condors, selling spreads. That's the best thing to be doing in high IV. All right, let's go to the dollar real quick because this is sort of important here. This is what I talked about this morning about the supply on the dollar. You can see the dollar is rejecting that supply, right? So, yeah, I mean, you do have to be cautious of trading short today if this dollar does reject this supply. I think it can be something that holds equities up a little bit. So I would be slightly cautious of this dollar supply up here. You can see it's already rejecting a little bit. And if it does pull back today, right, that could be a reason for equities to sort of hold up here into FOMC tomorrow and you really not get that big of a move, right? So I would watch this dollar supply. If you do get that pullback today, maybe equities hold up. I think once you break this high, I think things can start to unravel. All right. The market is moving higher because of some news this morning. Is it above 40.40? Yeah. Yeah, we're above 40.40. So watch that 40.40. I think that dollar downside is also obviously helping that move. It's only for reference for me. I don't trade the dollar. All right. Let's go into your guys' tickers today. All right. I'll pop XOM up there for you because I saw someone ask for that. So we got EA, AMGN, AM. It's all earnings plays, huh? All right. This might be a quick one here because everyone likes to look at earnings on the technical standpoint for whatever reason. EA has earnings today. Next. AMGN has earnings today. Next. AMD has earnings today. TMUS has earnings coming up. Humana has earnings coming up next. Did Humana have earnings already? No. Humana has earnings coming up. Right? When's Humana earnings? Tomorrow. Yep. Next. FedEx. Yeah, you could look for that FedEx retest. See what happens on UPS today. But I do like that FedEx retest. Yeah. 184. Keep an eye on that. I would say, yeah. See if UPS pushes up. If it does, maybe FedEx holds that retest. XOM. Yeah, XOM had earnings today, and it looks like it is holding up off that what is that? Off that previous low here, around that 109, right? You can see right here. Support, 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 rejection, rejection. Yeah, you might see if that 109 holds up. I would say keep an eye on that XLE. The XLE is in a little bit of a questionable area for upside. I really don't like the XLE here for upside. But if XLM has a good day today, maybe it does try to hold that 109, 108. I would say keep an eye on the energy sector throughout the day. All right. I think that's about it. Shop, I would just say be cautious of this high around. I would not go long on Shop into this 51 area, right? You can see right here, previous lows on Shop. I don't think I'd be long into 51 on Shop. That's something I'd probably want to wait to see if you can break and hold above it, right? I don't think you want to be long into 51 on Shop. Snow. Yeah, I'd look for Snow to hold above 150. Yeah, it's not a bad little retest hold coming in, actually. So, yeah, that's what I'd look for. That's a nice little break and retest of 150 there on Snow, Wallace. I would watch that. See if that 150 can hold its support. Not a bad little look there. All right, guys. That's all I got. If you could press the like button before you head out, that would be much appreciated. I appreciate all you guys who donated today. $20 in donations. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated. Thank you for all the guys in here that are respectful, that are focused on coming here and learning. Those are the only people that I have time for. Anyone that's here for stupid reasons will be very quickly removed. I do not have time to entertain idiots. So if we see that, we'll continue to knock it out of the chat. I'm focused on keeping this a very educational and professional environment, and that is my focus. So if you guys want to stick around for that, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to press the like button. If you guys want to trade live with me on a daily basis, there's a link is down below in the description. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic trading day. Peace out.